Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming. No bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. On today's episode, we are going to do a final endgame scoring round of the Manhattan Project 2 Minutes to Midnight. Now, I've done a couple of previous videos on this showing some basic turns and also showing the scoring of the ICBMs. But today's video is going to cover the very end of the game. Now, one thing I want to mention real quick here before I go over the final scoring is on my last video I did make a mistake in the rules with spies on nuclear reactors. Just to clarify, on spies on nuclear reactors, whenever you activate a spy on an enemy's nuclear reactor, you get half the warheads rounded up and half go to your opponent. So for example, if your opponent's technology on his reactors is at 4, you would get 2, your opponent would get 2. If it was 5, you would get 3, and whoever you're spying on would get 2. So I just wanted to clear that up. I did make that mistake last time. So real quick here, before we do our final scoring, Mr. Green took his last turn. Just want to show you our situation here. So as you can see, our market is pretty depleted. There's barely anything left except for a lot of ABMs. Over here, technology-wise, everybody moved up quite a bit. Mr. Green pushing pretty hard there. Toward the end, he had factories almost until the very end of the game, but he did lag behind in other areas as well. So just to show you Mr. Green's board here, as you can see, there's some enemy subs in the waters there. There's bombers in the air, fighters in the air. Same thing over here. Miss Blue basically put a lot of her bombers down to try and protect her airspace away. And down here, Mr. Orange, again, his airspace being completely full too. Mr. Orange did get a chance to take a final turn because Miss Blue had just gone right before Mr. Green, so she didn't have time to deploy anything, and she couldn't retrieve. But Mr. Orange, unfortunately, focused too much on trying to deny Mr. Green at the end and forgot to put a general on one of the military action spaces. Uh-oh. So he didn't get to do a whole lot more there. So let's go through final scoring here, but that is an important rule. Whenever the person who triggers off the final scoring goes, the other players, you get to take one final turn in normal turn order after that. So, Mr. Orange could have done something with his stuff, except he did not get a military action to deploy any units. So first of all, in final scoring, first thing you do is the test sites. Now, the test sites are done each time you pull a scoring card during the course of the game here with the different markers. But in final scoring, it's only done once. And in this particular game, Mr. Orange, Mr. Green, and Miss Blue all did only 3. Well, all get 3 points, I should say, because they all only did one test site. Now, Miss Blue, I'll show you here the scoring track. It's a pretty tight game. Miss Blue's in the lead here, coming into the final stretch with 49 points. Mr. Orange has 45, and Mr. Green has 43. So really, it's anybody's game. Now, Miss Orange will get 3 points first. So 1, 2, 3. And she will get this nice little chip here. Let's see if I can hold it well enough. That shows you that you've circled the track, basically. You've gone once around the lap there, so she'll get that 50-pointer down. Mr. Orange also has 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, Mr. Green gets 3 because they all had one test site. So now we go through scoring, and I'm just going to go in the order the way that the game went. So ICBM scoring, we'll do that first. So first of all, 4 victory points. ABM matches or exceeds ICBM opponent who has the most ICBMs. So we're going to start here, going to turn order actually. I did this with Miss Blue, but I'm going to go actually in turn order the way I have been, which was Mr. Orange, Mr. Green, and Miss Blue. So Mr. Orange, his biggest threat still really is only Miss Blue with her 3 ICBMs over there in her silo. So his ABM defense, he's got 2. Here. He built a second launcher towards the end of the game, covering up one of his research labs, which again, those of you who played Nations, you will be familiar with this concept, covering up things when you build new items. So his ABM defense, 2 launchers times a technology level of 5, that's 10, so he easily exceeds that. So he'll get 4 victory points for that. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, which will tie him there. and also get him a nice little 50-point scoring chip. Mr. Green, his biggest threat, of course, is Mr. Blue, who Mr. Blue really went all out on, or I'm sorry, Mr. Orange really went all out on his ICBMs. He has 10 of them all together. One missile launcher is all that Mr. Green has, so he has 5, so no go for him there. And Miss Blue's got the same problem. She only has 1 missile launcher, and her technology level is only 4, which is even worse, so no bonus there. Okay, so 1 victory point for each of your ICBMs. So again, Mr. Orange has 10 of them on there. So he's going to jump up here to 12 on the scoring track. Mr. Green has only 2. Guess he just wasn't really into missile launchers. They're at least land-based anyway, shall we say. And then Miss Blue has 3 in her silos over there. So she'll get 1, 2, 3 more points there. All right, 7 victory points if you're among the players with the most ICBMs. Well, that goes to Mr. Orange because he has the most hands down. So 12-7 takes him up to 19. So suddenly Mr. Orange is leaping ahead again. 4 victory points if you're among players with the second most. And this, of course, would have behooved Mr. Green to put in another ICBM. He didn't. So Miss Blue, 1, 2, 3, and 4, moves up 4 because she has the second most. And that's the ICBM scoring. Now, third world scoring. Now, again, we don't do the detonation site. You only do that once in final scoring. But let's go back through the rest of this here. So first, for, again, ABM defenses are important in this game. ABM defense matches or exceeds nukes in third world nation on your player board. So, Mr. Orange is going to have that. He has 2 launchers times his technology, which is 5. That's 10. There's only 5 nukes in front of him, so he's going to get another 4 victory points again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. He is just racing around the board here. Mr. Green has 5 nukes in front of him. Now, he only has 1 launcher, but he does have a level 5 technology. So it does match 5 and 5. So he actually will get this 4-point bonus, 2, 3, and 4. And he'll finally get his 50-point chip, but, yeah. He's behind. Now, Miss Blue, unfortunately, there are 5 nukes in front of her in her third world nation up here that's on her doorstep. But again, she only has 1 launcher, and her technology level is 4, so she doesn't get the bonus. All right. Everybody basically got 5 nukes into the countries that are next to them. So 1 nuke for each nation, one victory point, rather, for each nuke in a nation that you control. So everybody managed to control 1 country in this particular example. So everybody's going to get 5 victory points on that. So let me just slide everybody up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then 3 for each country you control. Well, everybody controls 1. Mr. Orange controls the 1 in front of Mr. Green. Mr. Green controls the 1 in front of Miss Blue. And Miss Blue controls the 1 in front of Mr. Orange. So again, 3 victory points basically for everybody. 1, 2, and 3. And then 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. So that is our third world scoring. Now we get into bombers. Lots of bombers in the air. If you take a look at everything here, you can see everybody's airspace. Mr. Orange, Miss Blue, Mr. Green. Everybody's airspace is just filled with aircraft. So here we go. So first of all, 7 victory points if there are not any enemy bombers in your airspace. Well, nobody has that. Although Miss Blue and Mr. Green came close. As you can see here, Mr. Orange managed to sneak 1 into Mr. Green's airspace, and Mr. Green managed to sneak 1 into Miss Blue's airspace as well. So no dice, so to speak, on that. And now everybody gets 1 victory point for each nuke you deployed of your bombers, level 1 and level 2 in your own airspace, and 3 and 4 in any airspace. And then you return all the bombers and fighters to their supplies, but we're not going to worry about taking them off the board because this is the final round. So, okay, so scoring the nukes. So we'll start with Mr. Orange. So Mr. Orange has 2 nukes in his own airspace, 2 nukes in Mr. Green's airspace, and that's it. So he has 4 victory points from that. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Mr. Green has 2 of his own level 4 bombers here. So that's 3, 6. But then he has 2 level 2 bombers. That's 4. So 6 and 4, that's 10. Then over here, 2 more, he has 12. And then over here, 2 more, he has 14. So that's a big jump for Mr. Green. 10, 14, that's 24. So he is leaping ahead there. Now Miss Blue has deployed a bunch of bombers in her own airspace. So 2, 4, 6, 8 there. 10, 12, 14 there. And that's it. She's managed to also pick up 14 points. And 17 and 14 is 31. So Mr. Green, hoping to catch up on those bombers, that just didn't quite happen. Last but not least, we have the submarines. The subs are the very last thing here. So the subs, now we reveal all cards in the coastal waters. Then decoys go to general supply. 7 VP if your ABM matches or exceeds your opponent's nukes there. Otherwise, 1 for each one. So again, we'll start with Mr. Orange. So how many nukes are in his water? Woo, there's quite a bit here. Woo, these are all, woo, this is going to be rough. So 5, 8, oh, let's see, that's 10 more, that's 18, 23. Yeah, he's never gonna make that amount. So no bonus for him on that. Now, Mr. Green's only got 2 in his waters, and it is 10. But that is still more than his missile ABM defense, which is only 5, because he only has 1 launcher, has a technology level of 5. Miss Blue is probably going to be out of luck, too, because she only has a 4. Yeah, she's out of luck as well. Okay, so nobody gets the bonus. And then 1 for each of your nukes on your sub. So Mr. Orange had 2 big old level 2 subs. That's another 10. So 10 more points for Mr. Orange. Mr. Green managed to get a lot of subs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He got 6 subs total deployed. So he's going to end up with here. Let me do the math here real quick. So let's see. He's got 7 or 14. I'm sorry, 14 and 15 is 29. 29 and 3 more. That's 32. So 32. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 30, 31, 32, which gives him a second 50 chip. Uh-oh. Looks like these subs might have sealed the deal for Mr. Green. Miss Blue had a total of 4 subs deployed in the waters. She had 3 level 2 and a single level 1. So she had 18 more points added to her score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Holy smoke. So thanks to a huge surge in SLBMs, Mr. Green is going to finish the game here with 106 victory points. Miss Blue ends up with 99, and Mr. Orange ends up with 96. So a late rally with the submarine. So looking long game here, paid off for Mr. Green in the end with his technology, ignoring some other things, especially ICBMs. So again, Mr. Green wins this game with a huge deployment of subs. All right, now, just to let you know what's coming next, I'm going to play this game again one more time using the country cards that come in the game. There are country cards that allow you to specifically pretend to be different countries, which then gives you different capabilities in it. Like you can be Germany, or you can be Pakistan, or the Soviet Union, that kind of thing. I'm going to do one more game using those cards. I'm going to see how that plays out. And then I'll be posting a review video. So, hope you enjoyed this whole how to play segment here of the game. Hopefully my math was spot on too as well. Math was never my strongest subject. I'm not going to lie about that. Obviously, you probably can guess by yourself. History was my favorite topic in school. So I'll be showing up again probably in a few days' time with the review video to give some final thoughts on all of this game, which probably you can already tell is going to be a positive one, but I also want to think about some things, make some comments, observations, all along those lines. So, once again, this has been Bare Bones Wargaming. No bells, no frills, no whistles, just a man, a camera, and his game with Tim Korchnoi, wishing you victory in all your games and fun as well.